Welcome to Training Module 1 for the Organization Capability Maturity Framework. The objectives for this module are to review the dynamic influences and drivers for change on today's organizations, refresh participants on existing change processes and tools, and to introduce the next generation change improvement and transformation techniques. The topics we'll cover today in Module 1 cover the following: the forces that impact the operation and performance of the organization, managing volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, often referred to as VUCA. We look at the scale, magnitude, and rate of change an organization must deal with, how it has accelerated in recent decades. The fourth industrial revolution is already underway, as the third industrial revolution, that's the information age, is still happening for many organizations. Digital transformation has and will continue to change how we work and live. We will review existing change management tools and techniques which have served us well and will continue to do so. We introduce next generation change and transformation techniques which address the shortfalls in existing approaches, which research has consistently shown that 70% of change initiatives fail to meet their originally intended objectives. Equally as important, the increasing levels of VUCA, that is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, require more sophisticated tools, but they must be usable and user-friendly. Now let us consider the forces for change that impact every organization today. Firstly, we will consider the environment and ecosystems. How an organization functions and its performance in achieving its aims is influenced by many factors, both internal and external, generally described as the environment. The external environment includes things like regulation, new technology, competitive landscape, suppliers, social and economic conditions, and the related changes to any or all of these and its impact on the core value of the organization. The internal environment for an organization includes such things as policy, culture, resources, and structure as they exist and as they change over time. The environment then reflects a broad range of factors that influence how organizations and their stakeholders behave and perform. Ecosystems are about specific component entities within the environment, such as enterprises, people, and things, and how they connect and interact in the process of creating value for the organization in the development, provision, and consumption of the organization's products or services, often referred to as the offerings. Ecosystems are event-driven in that they sense, react, and adapt dynamically in an organic manner. The influencing factors that create forces for change in an organization are similar whether they're local, national, regional, or global. The organization, its sector, industry, or stakeholders may have some influence over these forces, but often they are out of their control. What we know is that there are many dynamic competing forces at play which an organization must deal with, and we have listed some of these here. Organizations today have greater expectations placed on them by stakeholders. Therefore, building innovation, agility, collaboration, and performance into their systems and culture is a critical success factor. Now let us look at how organizations deal with VUCA and what the emerging best practices are. The most recent VUCA index predicts more turbulence in the future, and a general consensus is the case across various industries. VUCA makes strategy development and execution hard but it does not reduce the relevance of strategy. A winning approach combines rigorous strategy development with agility, says Mark Badgie from the Rotterdam School of Management, an expert in this area. Traditional approaches to managing volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity tend to focus on formal risk and compliance management, attempting to control the internal reaction within the organization and reduce internal VUCA. Contingency planning and resourcing is also a significant factor, adding passing power, whether it be capacity, resources, partnering, duplication, or some level of automation and flexibility, are all strategies and tactics adopted. Traditional approaches come with significant cost, whether it be financial, service level, flexibility, or responsiveness, with limited gains in agility. Emerging approaches focus on building capabilities and capability maturity so that the system becomes more agile, innovative, productive, and collaborative. By improving capability maturity, the functioning and performance of the organization overall improves. This systemic approach enhances its ability to anticipate and respond to forces and opportunities for change and transformation. We are presenting the Organization Capability Maturity Reference Model and Framework, which represent the latest research knowledge base, techniques, and tools. It has a normative, scientific 7-level maturity scale. There are, of course, many other types of maturity models available today and in use. Some examples include COBIT from ISACA, the Capability Maturity Model Integrated, which originated in Carnegie Mellon University and is administered by the CMMI Institute. The IT Capability Maturity Framework from the Innovation Value Institute at Maynooth University, and it originated in Intel Corporation. Agile ISO Maturity Model, and proprietary consultant and analyst models, some of which are underpinned by research, but limited management science. These are all examples. Because technology-driven or enabled change is so pervasive currently across organizations and ecosystems, we'll take a short look at digital transformation. Digital and related technologies are causing significant, if not transformational, changes today for organizations, ecosystems, and industries. Daily, we see new digital products and services, new channels and ecosystems, new business and operational models. Most organizations have or should have a digital agenda which reflects their ambitions and the opportunities or challenges in their business and operating environments. For some, it only means incremental change due to their business context, but for others, the change is transformational or transitional. These changes can be applied to some aspect or all of the components in the organization value pyramid. Netflix is a good example of an organization that has brought disruptive change to an industry by leveraging technology for advantage across most of the aspects of the value pyramid. The sophistication of the technology landscape and the options available require careful attention and management, with extensive expertise and skills in the organization are co-opted through right sourcing and partnering. Strong technology management skills are a key component. However, the technology aspect is only one strand of the change. Overall, we need to look at these changes as an organization development initiative in order to deliver the target business benefits. Simply treating digital transformation as an IT-led project has led to many failed initiatives. Existing information technology assets may need to be retained, developed, integrated, or retired, while we are adding new assets and managing a more complex and sophisticated and rich data infrastructure. In this section, we are refreshing your awareness of existing change management techniques and tools. They all bring some value to change, transformation, and performance improvement. Yet failure rates in change initiatives remain persistently high, where circa 75% of initiatives fail to meet their original objectives over recent decades. In today's VUCA environment, they are not fully fit for purpose. This led to significant research into why change fails and new knowledge and insight and tools that mitigate against the failure mechanisms and improve change program success rates. You will likely be familiar with models and techniques from Cotter, Lewin, and Prosky as examples. These approach change centered on the leadership process steps and how they bring people through the change journey. Covey and Kubler-Ross focus on the individual, whether it be the leader or staff member, with attention to their behaviors and actions. You may also be familiar with two models and tools that are used to help individuals understand their profiles when it comes to their work and contributing to teams. These tools are useful in guiding personal and team development. The first is the Myers-Briggs personality types and related assessments. The second is the Belbin team roles. Both help individuals and teams understand their strengths and weaknesses and provide development guidance. Many organizations use a range of complementary techniques and tools. We've discussed many of these already. Capability maturity models are gaining traction in organizations across the globe because they simplify some of the complexity and help bring consistency. The Organization Capability Maturity Framework is one such reference model and framework. It's underpinned by dynamic systems maturity theory, and it has a body of knowledge and configurable maturity assessment tool which cover all the system dynamics, that is, the forces in an organization. The Organization Capability Maturity Framework is a more organic change process that reflects the context of each individual organization, with measurements based on science and guidance based on organization learning rules. By using such a change and transformation model in change programs, you can mitigate against the historic failure mechanisms that have occurred. Organizations are complex human influence systems. We simplify this complexity by focusing on key capabilities and their maturity level, leveraging all the tools and knowledge available. Dr. Miles Sweeney, global expert and one of the founders of Organization Development Tools Institute. Define capabilities as the ability to mobilize resources to achieve a specific aim. Capability maturity management provides leaders and teams with a means to simplify the complexity of the many variables that influence the performance of an organization, to measure and improve the ability of an organization to perform, the ability to set the right priorities for action. The current capability maturities determine what the current level of performance is, but they also determine the rate of change for that organization. By improving capability maturities or adding new capabilities, the organization can improve its performance, can improve its agility or its rate of change, and that enables greater ambition. The key is knowing which are the capabilities to focus or invest in, and which are the ones that will achieve the target aims or the ambition. The traditional approaches to change management do not consider or integrate the actual organization capability and capacity to change as it exists, nor do they provide guidance that reflects the existing learning level and capacity of the organization. Guidance in traditional approach tends to be generic and requires significant contextual analysis and local knowledge to get action steps, which may or may not be directly appropriate. A capability maturity framework, such as the Organization Capability Maturity Framework, because it's based on rules that apply to scientific maturity levels, and because it covers the full span of the organization system, provides specific actions calibrated to the organization context, and therefore more likely to gain traction when completed and have a sustainable benefit. The org CMF is a more holistic development process based on human system learning theory, as outlined in dynamic systems maturity theory. We build on existing learning levels or maturity levels, and there is a related improvement in the functioning and performance where the action has been applied. The strength of any maturity model must lie in its ability to measure the learning level, that is the maturity level, and by providing information and guidance that help to answer the many questions that arise for change leaders and change agents and participants. It must be granular enough to do this at organization, unit, function, team, process, or role level. It should have relevance at all the levels of the organization and its subsystems, so everyone can leverage the benefits of the reference model and the body of knowledge and assessment tools. Here we have some of the typical questions that will arise in the organization. Where should we start the change? How do we get buy-in on a particular change action? What are the risks for the change? Have we missed anything? These are just some examples that are common questions that should always be asked in any change program. When selecting a capability maturity reference model and framework, it's important that it meets some key criteria, which we will now discuss. It should be based on independent and objective scientific research. Ideally, its measurement standard and scale should be normative and have a reference base and not be arbitrary. It should be accessible. It should be useful and usable by industry and professionals. Ideally, it should be community-led in its application and its development. A value-added ecosystem for derived knowledge and tools should be allowed and promoted, and it should have an associated reference framework. The Organization Capability Maturity Framework represents the next generation for change and transformation management. It will be a key part of any organization toolkit for driving change and improvement. It provides a roadmap for agility, innovation, productivity, collaboration, and performance. And it complements the existing tools, skills, and knowledge of the organization and its stakeholders. It has a sound basis in management science organization learning, as outlined in dynamic systems maturity theory. In the next module, Module 2, we introduce the core principles and concepts of dynamic systems maturity theory and how it can underpin any human system.